And we are live.
We are live. Well, hello, everybody. Is there anybody there? Hopefully there is somebody there. As you will see tonight, I will just start this with a quick warning. Now, we are here tonight for a very, very glorious reason. But before we get started, I'm going to give you a very quick warning, which is that I replaced my camera recently, and it is sensitive to sort of gesture control. And I talk with my hands a hell of a lot. So if I suddenly start flying all over the place and the camera starts zooming in or zooming out, that is not my fault. It's the goddamn camera. Okay?
See, here I thought that the warning was going to be that we're unsupervised.
Well, there is that. I have no pants on. So if the camera does shake or change direction, be ready for trauma. As you will have noticed, guys, there is only the two of us here tonight. The reason for that is Chrissy is unfortunately at the doctor's still, and she's running a little bit behind with things. So nothing to worry about, but she's just a bit busy and as such couldn't make it tonight. She sends her regards and her abuse. But the downside is that it means that you fuckers are stuck with us. Hi, Eva. So, Geneva, do you want to tell everybody what's going on?
Yeah, so let's just start with a little rundown first of everything we've got coming up and going on with Legion right now. So first, the big one, obviously, is we've got a release next week. Rachel Newkirk, she has book 2 coming out in Knights of Eternity. That will be another simultaneous release. Hey, Rachel. Other Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
So, yes, right there, Desecrate. It's going to be coming out. It's narrated, if you have not listened to the first one yet, it's narrated by the insanely talented Andrea Parsnow, who is just a genius. So you can pick that up on the 27th on Amazon or on Audible, or if you want the print copies, we've got them on the Legion website. Other big news for next week, we've got DragonCon. So if you will be at DragonCon, as far as Legion, I will be there. Brian J. Norton will be there. And just generally, you can find us probably at the Weston Bar most of the time, planning a few other spots. We will be on Sunday having the Lit RPG party. It is the first official DragonCon party. Is audio out next week too? Yes. So it is a simultaneous release again, like book 1. So ebook, audio, and print all at once.
For those of you who haven't listened to it yet, Andy's always a joy, no matter what's going on. She's great fun, especially in live. So if you are at DragonCon, I'm not sure if she's there this year, but she was last year, and it was just horrific. The voices she comes up with. You hear somebody coming up behind you and talking, and you turn around expecting somebody completely different, and it's Andy every time. It's fucking ridiculous. But her voices are just fantastic, and this story, if you haven't done it yet, you're going to have to try it.
So in addition as well, I was thinking we hadn't announced them yet, and my brain is just lagging because of DragonCon and trying to get everything ready in time. Aoife and Rachel will also be at DragonCon next week. So come say hi to all of us. We would all love to see you. And again, you could probably find any one of us at the Westin at any given time. That's pretty safe bet. Oh, he's
and
zooming.
The camera has already begun with my hands together as well. So
a little side note too. Our usually scheduled last Sunday squad for Final Call, the monthly D&D game, we are going to be postponing it and not having this month's episode just because of DragonCon and all of the last minute stuff that goes into that. So we'll see you next month for that one, as well as various other lives. Is there anything I'm missing out on?
Well, I won't be doing my live as well that I normally do, which is the first weekend of the month, because that is also going to be that weekend. So I won't be doing that, but I will be picking up again the month after. What else do we need to discuss? Well, one of the things that I do need to stress to you as well is if anybody out there is going to DragonCon for the first time this year, you haven't been before, first of all, be ready. It's going to be very, very busy. It's very loud. It's very good fun. But the Westin is the Westin Bar. It's the bar inside of the Westin Hotel. And if you're looking for anybody, it's one of the main con hotels, and that's where pretty much everybody will be. So if you're looking for people on a night time, that's where they will show up at some point. And there's a lot of events on. So every so often we go to the podium gigs, we go to Tanto, we go to the various different private events, and we basically drain all them of all their alcohol. And then we come back to the Western Bar and proceed to get very, very drunk there. So if you're looking for somebody and you know they're at Dragon Con, but you don't know where they are, chances are they'll be there.
Yeah, it's always a safe bet with the Weston Bar. I mean, and Jez did say at night, and that's very sweet to think that people are just getting drunk at night. You can show up there at 8 a.m. You're going to find someone. They might be at the
you can find
bar.
them at that time, because during the day, generally, they're staggering around somewhere trying to stay out of the sun. And like, yeah. Yeah. That's because I barely knew at that point as well. But I fully blame Kev. That is Lars. I fully blame Kev. And for anybody that was there last year as well, you may remember that Lars got so drunk he was crawling along the floor at one stage. So.
Well, and that wasn't completely Lars' fault.
Oh, it was totally Lars' fault. It was totally. Don't you ruin this for me. It was totally Lars' fault, right? It was completely Lars' fault. So remember that, everybody. And also,
I will say too,
is Swedish.
Yes, he absolutely is Swedish. But Lars, you did get to later embarrass yourself with Andy because she came to karaoke with all of us. So, the Lady in the Toss Pot. It is the name of our. Oh no, I'm not even going to say that because that's just bad. Oh, Craig, we're going to miss you. Hopefully, we'll see you at Lit RPG Con next year.
Yes.
Also, and more exciting news, we have been welcomed back for the Lit RPG track at Jordan Con again next year. So that is starting in the very early stages of planning, and we look forward to seeing everybody there. Tell half the Western to go die in a fire. No, that is uniquely Brian.
Yeah. So, guys, just to quickly reiterate before we move on to the real reason we're here, if you're up for it next year, I believe it's April for Jordan Con. We will all be very naughtily drunk there. And the main advantage of it is it's a very small con. It's about 1,000 people, which means that last year there were probably as many authors as there were fans. And we all just got very, very drunk together in a big group at the bar. So if you want to come along and drink with us and basically get to know all the authors and be literally sitting at dinner with us all, that's a great place to do it. That'll be Jordan Con. That'll be late April off the top of my head. I don't know the exact date. Mm-hmm. And then we have Lit RPG Con, which is the first live open sort of Lit RPG convention for everybody, which Geneva and Emily are organising from Sound Booth and Legion. So it's going to be an absolute shitfest, basically. It's going to be completely insane. Aoife, don't be on your best behaviour, be on your worst behaviour. It'll be much more fun. How do you expect me to keep on mic with your drinking, Jess? Well, clearly you don't. You just try and, whatever you do, don't get between me and the rum. That's all we say. You're totally safe. Hey, Rhea.
Yes, so that is the other part about Lit RPG Con. So this is our first year doing it. We will have a limited number of what we're calling guest spots, but we don't want to limit who can be on panels. So we're encouraging everyone to fill out those guest applications, even if they just want to come on and be on some panels. We would love to have a huge variety of authors and narrators and industry professionals, game experts, everything like that. The format of the con is going to be different than a lot of other cons. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to get to hang out with the authors and narrators. So we're hoping it's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
If you mean of course, you just mean the end of the bar, it's good enough. Like,
yeah, because I'll be pushing people out of the way and climbing over them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I believe it's the 18th to the 20th. Is that the dates for July next year?
Yep. So we have the hotel block from the 17th to the 21st, I want to say. So you can come in early and all that good stuff, stay late. But the actual con dates will be the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And we're going to have stuff going around the clock. So we'll have a lot of amazing things going on.
Yeah. Very looking forward to it. I'm up for that. Nathan, we will do it together. How's that for a deal? I am up for that if you are. It will be extremely messy. Well, so that's the various housekeeping little bits and pieces out of the way, I believe. Is there anything else we need to stress?
Not that I can think of right now. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. So let's get on to the big news.
Yeah. So the big news is we have another new author joining us. So, Geneva, we have the wonderful Mallory.
How you doing?
Hey, Mallory.
Hello, sir. Now, for those who are wondering, Mallory is not showing their face, obviously. Mallory is a wonderful author. You will be able to see their stuff already up on Royal Road, but you're going to love this stuff. So Mallory joined us a few months ago, but I was just taking a little bit of time getting things sorted out. And we're just really excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, we're very excited to have you part of the family. Welcome to the Legion family.
No, very excited to be here.
So, Mallory, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Yeah, sure. I'm an English teacher from the UK. Not showing my face because there's a lot of swearing in my books, and I think generally speaking, it's very hard to discipline children for swearing at you in school when they've read your books and you are using worse words than they're coming up with. So that's the reason why I think we're going with a logo rather than my face. But now I'm from the UK. I only got into Lit RPG really recently, and came across it on Kindle Unlimited, and suddenly thought, what a fantastic way of trying to get your ideas across. And I'd finished reading Beware of Chicken, which was the thing that really pushed me into writing. And I just thought, well, that would be a really interesting thing to sort of have happen in a sort of more UK setting with a sort of a slightly different vibe to it.
And it is a very different vibe. I mean, I especially love the little sort of segues into the chapters. You know, chapter 2, whatever, where an immortal wizard fails to find my arse interesting, and just little things like that would just really set the tone for it. It was like, oh god.
So, with that in mind, tell us a little bit about the series, because it's a really unique take. It's not anything that I have seen before.
Yeah, it's I'm a very big fan of I'm a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court, and I always thought it would be a really interesting story if that took place with a more 21st century character. So the idea of the story really is we're in King Arthur's sort of time period, but Merlin's been murdered. And with Merlin being murdered, everything and all the timelines and everything has started to go completely out of whack. And in his last sort of act in the prologue, Merlin sort of looks forward to try to find someone that can slot in and replace him, and finding out that all the obvious options have already been murdered too, picks a woman from 21st century Birmingham and drops her smack bang in the middle of the Dark Ages. And that's really where chapter 1 kicks off, really. And then the books sort of follow her trying to get her head round being a wizard, really, and following that sort of cultivation, learning how to harness her energy, really. And along the way, we sort of lose most of the characters from Arthurian legend and have to try to find replacements to keep things going.
I just love the fact that she's from Birmingham. So for anybody that knows anything about the UK, Birmingham is one of those places that has a very distinctive accent. And also, if you walk into a bar there, it's even odds if you're going to get headbutted, a drink, or a broken bottle in the face. And that is because you're talking to a barmaid. You know, that's not that's not everybody else in the bar. That is the bar staff. That's the reason it's only 50-50 chance, is that they're actually looking to serve you, or they're supposed to be. That's Birmingham to a T.
And more characters in major novels need to be from Birmingham. That's my strong view.
Definitely. It's guaranteed to be completely insane. We've read it, and it's brilliant, which is why we're going to
It's cultivation. So I am trying to sort of weave in less numbers, I think, is what I've really aimed for there. But have a read of it on Royal Road and see if you think it works, because I think it's a little bit Marmite, isn't it? I think people either think it's hilarious or people don't like Birmingham. But apart from that, it's fine.
No, I think anybody with good taste doesn't like Birmingham. But, that's because people that have experienced Birmingham, it's very much one of those. When they say it's an acquired taste, it's an acquired taste. And if you've got real problems in your life, you go to Birmingham, you feel better about them. And saying as somebody that was working in IT and got regularly sent to Birmingham.
Gosh.
So, yeah.
So it looks like it didn't go through on Facebook, but it did go through on YouTube. We've got the link here, so you can check it out. It is up on Royal Road right now if you want to go ahead and start reading ahead. I will share that directly on Facebook since it's not working here.
The joys of technology.
Yes.
But no, we're really excited to have you with us, Mallory. And we're very excited to be able to share the news. You've been with us for a few months now. We've been getting the books obviously ready, and we're in editing at the moment. So hopefully it won't be too long until we can share release dates and some good news like audio and so on. But it is, if you try, you're going to love the series. It really is. Strippers, Mike.
Yep.
Strippers for everybody.
We've hired strippers across the board. It's Legion's new plan. Just strippers.
You missed them all. It was about 15 minutes ago. Loads of dancing, explosions, everything.
The cake was interesting.
Well, all I'm saying is it took a while to get everything off me, and the nipple tassels, never again.
No, I mean the hair. It's not a good combination. No.
For those that have missed the incident with the nipple tassels, that was Jay's fault. Will they be at Lit RPG Con? Probably.
Probably. Yeah. No.
It'll certainly be the messiest. It's gonna be fun.
The cops were gone. Yeah, but they left. They were afraid. They decided they didn't want to be part of that. Yeah.
Therapy. Oh, lovely victory there with Gemma. Now, so as we were saying, so the series. Why don't we have a brief talk about your influences and what kind of things you like and the kind of tone of the series, Paul?
Yeah, it's first-person narration, so I think that's, from everything that I've been reading, has really attracted me to this style of writing, really. But what I felt I really wanted to look at was somebody that was a bit different from the very powerful man that suddenly lands in the world and just drives forward and everything works perfectly for them, really. I liked the idea of looking at somebody that genuinely wasn't that keen to be alive. I think that's the vibe that runs across the story all across, really, is she could really take or leave whether any of this works. She's not that interested in really it being a massive success for her. She's not a particularly optimistic person, certainly at the start of the story. And I thought that sort of run across a bit of somebody not just getting stronger and getting more powerful, but actually getting a bit happier certainly by the end of the third book. She's found a much happier place to be, and I think that's quite a nice journey to go through, rather than just getting stronger and being able to throw loads of fireballs around. She actually could reach the end and feeling like she was a little bit more have found her place in the world.
Exactly, because when it first starts out, she's very much, as you say, she's a bit pissed at the world and very much like, do you think I care?
Yes.
It's the whole sort of, we've been beaten down by life because we've all been there. We've all had that kind of like, I don't care if you like it or not. I'm being paid by the hour and I'm here just to do the bare minimum because I hate my life.
Yeah.
And we've all had those kind of days in that situation. And she's going through something like that. And then she's like there suddenly. What the absolute fuck?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And going from there and seeing how she evolves. Not just, as you say, the fireballs and the cultivation and the kung fu and whatnot. It's also the happiness. It's her getting over all this mountain of crap in her past. Yeah.
And I
We've
think
all been there, Nathan.
And I think that's the idea. What I loved about this fiction really was people got happier through it, and people really got a sense of growth, and got a sense of when they got to the end of reading some of the books that, as I say, I've come to quite late in life, really. But you sort of felt that everything had got better, really, by the end of it. And I really wanted to sort of bring that sort of vibe to the sort of Arthurian canon. And there's so many different Arthurian stories and so many different aspects of them that you've got such flexibility really to play around with as you like as you're writing. So taking Merlin out on page 1 sort of sets the scene for being able to have quite a lot of fun with it, really. Yeah,
definitely. So it's a thing that I don't know if this might be something that's very UK centric, but we grew up with Arthurian legends, with Camelot and stuff. It's very, very big in the UK, or it was when I was growing up. Certainly, it's a case of it's everywhere, and things like Robin Hood and so on. A lot of our old folk tales are very heavy for our influences. But I know in America you have a lot more. So you have the Native American side of things a lot. Conversations I've had that you have very different childhood stories than we have. So it creates a very different persona, a different way of looking at things, because ours, we tend to believe that everybody's out to get us. And it's not just paranoia, it's fucking evidence.
But the beauty of the Arthur things is that he's, I mean, the most famous book about him is The Once and Future King. So the idea is Arthur's always going to come back and save us. So I think that fits into that sort of vibe as well of this, things are going to be okay. Because, I mean, the Arthur in these stories isn't a particularly great guy at all, but he will be as the stories move forward, and he goes through some things as a result of tangling with the main character, really. But yeah, Arthur will come back and help us, and I think that sort of optimistic vibes are quite helpful for us, really.
Yeah. I always
Definitely.
enjoyed a lot of the Arthurian legends as well, and Once Future King, as well as like Mist of Avalon. So once I was like, wait, cultivation in there? Like, tell me more. It was very much so a hook. Plus, I know it's cheesy, but I loved the Merlin show. The show they put on was fantastic. It was so like I still cringe when I try to watch and like the graphics and everything. I'm like, oh, that's really bad, but it was so good. It was just such a good show.
I'll tell you what, I always, when you see graphics and you're like, oh, Jason and the Argonauts, the skeletons when they're running across the screen, you're like, oh, Harryhausen. If you don't know what that is, you need to look it up, and if you will, flinch. And you see the stop motion, and it's brilliant as well, and just terrible acting.
Rachel is asking how many books.
It's 3. So by the time we get to the end of book 3, we've got Arthur on the throne. He's finally managed to find Excalibur. He's made up with Guinevere, and we've met Lancelot. So I think we end book 3 really with everything that should be in place for the timeline to be restored.
Yeah. Now, our hope, we haven't set release dates or anything like that, and I can't tell you all what the release date is going to be yet. But our hope is that we're going to be able to release all 3 books fairly close together. Mm-hmm. And obviously we're working on audio, and we'll be able to share some news on that hopefully soon as well, to be able to tell you who the narrators will be, a narrator or narrators. We're still sorting these little details out, but we're definitely excited about this, because I think it's going to be one that's people are going to really enjoy this. So congratulations, Mallory. We're very proud to have you.
Yes,
thank you. Really exciting.
Good. Does anybody have any questions? Or is it all going silent? So this is always strange on this side, because we know that you're there, but we can't see anything until Geneva pops it up while she has access to all of the various screens. And I don't. I feel like I'm just talking to myself.
You are just talking to yourself. Actually, there was a great question in one of the Lit RPG groups about, are the authors real people? And I'm here to confirm they're not. They're actually all androids. We've programmed them. They're bots. It is.
We are so badly programmed.
I mean, I didn't say we did a good job.
I think we can agree on that. If you program me, then you rose us for the start.
Well, the first one is always a little trickier than the rest.
Certainly a little bit more fucked up, that's for sure.
This is the bot versus. Ryan confirms it. Authors are not actually human, in case you were wondering. So
the old saying is that authors are just lunatics that make the voices in their head pay rent. So I find that to be very accurate, because I spend a lot of my time when I'm writing, because I'm a pantser. That's a point. Are you a pantser or a planner, Mallory?
Well, basically, I'm just ripping off stories that were already written in Arthurian legend. So it's a mixture of the two, really, isn't it? It's having someone else's plot that you pants. Yeah, I think that works.
You cunning bastard. I'm very impressed.
Find a big mythology and just dive into it. There's all sorts. Book 2 is basically someone else's plot. It's great.
Okay. So I'm seeing that as well now, yes. Yeah, Maria, the voice is only dim when you write what they're yelling. For me, it's more of I'm writing, and I know that this is where the characters are going, and instead they're going off in that direction because they've seen something shiny, and I'm like, just fucking get back here, just get back here. Fuck. We're abolished purely because books came out too slowly, so they set the authors free. That could well be accurate. But does anybody have any last questions for Mallory or for ourselves? But with cultivation.
Yes, definitely with cultivation.
So with the cultivation, actually, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you've integrated cultivation into Arthurian legend?
So I was really interested in the idea that we only really have Merlin as a very clear mythological figure in England, really, as someone that seems to have held all of this power. And I really like the idea that he'd got so powerful that basically all the available energy was swallowed up by him. Therefore, in removing Merlin from the British Isles, suddenly there was all of this ability that had been repressed over all these hundreds of years for people to be able to cultivate. So with him gone, suddenly, and particularly with the Saxons being the bad guys within the stories, had this fantastic opportunity to be able to cultivate and to be able to move their own powers onwards. So really, what certainly the first novel deals with is the fact that the Saxons have managed to off Merlin, and no one else has realised apart from them. So they've been able to train up a fairly sizable army with nobody else really realising that Merlin wasn't available anymore. So there's a real focus on how quickly and how horrifically, really, the Saxons have managed to raise the standards of their cultivators. And it does mean that the Saxon invasion of Britain is pretty one-sided until the main character starts to fumble her own way back into power.
So Ryan's kind of following up on that. Does that mean that Merlin isn't the only wizard?
Not once he's dead, no. So because he's killed in the prologue, suddenly there's this massive mushroom of abilities for people that had been suppressed because he'd been sucking down on all of the available energy that everybody had in the British Isles.
See, I'm not a big into cultivation, so when I read of that, I was like, okay, and just accepted it. I didn't really think about it because it's not something that I read a lot of cultivation, as I say. But now just thinking about that, it's like, yeah, actually, that's a dickish move.
Yep.
There's so much that, yeah.
I mean, Merlin's not a good guy. I mean, I think that's one of the things I've liked playing with as it's gone through, really, is he has these moments of reflection on some of the things that we know Merlin has done through the different stories. And you're like, yeah, that's the sort of thing villains do. That's not really what we should have as a bumbly nice character that we sort of think of as our Gandalf, really. So with him gone, suddenly all this opportunity for all these powers that have been suppressed suddenly become very active, really.
We've got another one here from Aoife. Is there any cultivation novels that inspired your system, or is it a blend?
As I say, I just think it was really the first one I'd ever read, which was Beware of Chicken, and I think that's what sparks the whole idea off. Really, was this notion of someone that was suddenly pushed into somebody else's body, and I really loved the way that the farming was discussed in there, and the way that all the different animals were then being able to feed on the energy that was being produced. And I really liked that notion that if you swapped out really suddenly all of this energy that had been suppressed was suddenly then available, what opportunities were there? And we have dragons and we have various other things that suddenly spark up that they've been repressed by having this blanket put over them, really. And it really was Beware of Chicken that sparked that there. And I think from then onwards, really, I've really thrown myself into pretty much reading everything I can get my hands on. And I hope really that comes across in the drafting and the redrafting of the story, that went from really loving that first notion in Beware of Chicken and then moving itself across into perhaps having a bit more bones to it as it moves forward. Oh, definitely. It was an awesome series. I loved it.
Fantastic series. That one I really enjoyed. Richie or Toes is asking, does Jez the barbecue chip man make an appearance?
No, thankfully. You'll get to know Richie, and Richie, how did it start off with the toes?
Matt
Dinniman, wasn't it?
Matt Dinniman was with the feet, so it went from sending pictures of feet to Matt Dinniman, which fans did that he was not enjoying.
Oh, he was traumatized by it. He was totally traumatized.
He would go on Richie's stats on stats if he got enough feet pics sent to Richie, which Richie hated it for a very, very long time, and only recently just decided he was going to embrace it. So
because he couldn't get rid of it.
No,
because all of us were going, do it, send him more.
Yeah. So Jay Baraz gave him what is known as a Fick Boy name, which is from Harmon Cooper's Worlds as the Fick Boys. And his Fick Boy name is Toes. So here we are full circle. So where's that?
So that's why Toes is constantly traumatized.
Oh yeah, Jez is
Oh,
absolutely
great.
about the ketchup chips. Yeah.
Don't make me murder you. Hey, Mallory, where do you stand on this terrible debate? You might remember Walker's barbecue crisps that they got rid of in the UK. We used to have them in the UK and they were very popular, and then they brought out this new version of it that was shit. And then people didn't want to eat the shit flavour ones. And so because they weren't popular anymore, they stopped making them here. Rather than the common sense approach, which is we have a product which was really popular, and then we fucked with the recipe. Maybe we could go back to the good recipe. Didn't do that. So where do you stand on barbecue being the right flavour and tomato sauce being the abomination?
Well, the worst thing is, they make prawn cocktail out of tomatoes, don't you? So prawn cocktail flavoured crisps are actually tomato sauce flavour. It's not. They've never seen a prawn in their life, mate.
I know they haven't seen a prawn, but I mean they haven't seen a barbecue either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to turn both down and go with salt and vinegar or jalapeno. Yeah.
Salt and vinegar is good. It is a good flavour. So we have got the little one addicted to onion rings at the moment, like the really cheap, cheerful like onion ring crisps or chips, as American call them. Yeah, they've never seen an onion whatsoever and can like burn through you. Yeah.
Yes. Toast.
Love you, Rich. To me, eat and stay rich. Just
Actually,
so long as you keep me supplied.
Richie was talking about Dragon Con, that he's bringing a bunch of chips because people are really bad about remembering to eat, especially if they're running panel to panel. So he's just going to have these little like fun-sized bags of chips to hand out to everyone. I'm like, oh, that's great. We're just going to soak up the alcohol with potato chips.
It's what we did last year. It's what we do all the time. Yeah.
I don't think I've had that brand.
They are good. Kyo's a very good Irish brand.
Craig, the kettle ones, the kettle jalapeno chips are the best. Do you get the kettle chips out there, like super crunchy ones?
We do, but we only get basically about 3 flavors, and salt and vinegar are one of them. So why would we bother with anything else?
Because sometimes you need jalapeno in your life.
No, I like jalapeno. I haven't noticed that one, but I guess I haven't looked either. So okay.
Addressing the important topics, chip flavors.
It's one of the priorities in our life.
Yes.
But as we say, so it is wonderful to have you with us, Mallory. Is there any last questions for the main man himself? Nope.
There's the
A
quiet.
couple of seconds just for the people to be able to type, because I know that I'm a terrible typist when I'm under stress.
Well, and there's the whole delay of like 10 seconds before they actually see it. So they're only now just seeing you asking it. Yes, stroke beard. There you go. Well, to recap, while they are potentially thinking about questions to ask, we are welcoming aboard the amazingly talented Mallory. You can read his series on Royal Road right now. If you are searching by author name, make sure that you're using one L. That is, I've seen a couple spelling it wrong, so it is Malory.
Book 3 will be coming to a close in the next, I think, 3 weeks. So I think that's the end of my backlog is will be about mid-September, and then all 3 will be up there.
Yeah. So it is a completed little trilogy there. So you've got all of it. Start it, you're gonna love it, and you can go all the way to the end. So
check that out, and then and Maria's diving into the story tonight. Enjoy.
Excellent.
That. Yes. Outside of that, again, next week we do have Rachel's book 2 coming out, Knights of Eternity Desecrate. So that's coming out on Audible and Amazon next week. And you can see myself, Brian J. Norton, Aoife Y., and Rachel Cooper at Dragon Con in about a week. Not even a week. In less than a week.
There will also be a great many alcoholics and terrible opportunities. Remember, any photos that you get while you're there, and this goes out to everybody with all due seriousness, any of you that see any of our people there completely drunk off their faces, I need you to take photos and send them to me. It's not for blackmail purposes, honest. It's just so that I know. It's totally for blackmail.
Yeah, it's for blackmail.
Yeah. Well, thank you all, everybody. We will let you go, and congratulations and commiserations again, Mallory. You're stuck with us now, my friend.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm really excited. Thank you very much.
All right, everyone. You have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.